My name is Maggie McAlpine, and I'm the Cyber Engagement Lead here for the Center for Threat Informed Defense, part of MITRE Ingenuity. And with me today is Keith Wilson of AttackIQ. Keith, welcome to the show.
Hey Maggie, thanks for having me on.
So I thought we could just dive right in and have you tell us a little bit about AttackIQ and how you got involved with the project we'll be discussing today, which is CTI Blueprints.
So Attack IQ is in the breach and attack simulation market. We have a breach and attack simulation software. We even just released a newer, um, easier to use agentless software called Flex, but it's for testing the different TTPs that could happen in your environment too, right? It's the way to say, okay, well, we've stood up a security control to protect this thing. Now let's make sure that security control is working, or to test and see if maybe we need some security controls based on, attacker behavior in our environment. And that's really, we saw the opportunity there and decided to join onto the project.
Perhaps you can go into greater depth about the industry challenges that you imagine CTI Blueprints addressing, specifically, the need.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you guys kind of sum it up very well up front, right? There's so many different ways to write a cyber threat intelligence report. Um, and none of it is necessarily in a machine readable format, which is huge, right? For automation, because at scale, doing something with these reports needs to have some automation behind it.
Absolutely. I mean, pretty much why we did it. So you've sort of already addressed this a little bit, but maybe we can dive a little more into how CTI Blueprints works. How does it actually solve this problem, and help practitioners and that target audience and those target audiences actually that you discussed?
Yeah, so it gives authors of threat intelligence an easy tool to use, and you can download it directly locally. And if you want to have a local installation, it's freely available. It's on the GitHub page for with the center's projects, or they have a cloud option that you can use as well, and you can write out your reports in almost a templated format. They give you I think four different use cases or like audience types to choose from and how you're going to write your report, and provide you this template saying, okay, here's where we need to put in, the description, the executive summary, where we need to tie it back to attack techniques. Whatever the report is that you're doing, it has the different sections pre-configured for you. You can always add or subtract to or from those. And then it also allows you to kind of pre-populate some data too, especially when we talk about things like attack, right? Being able to just select from a technique ID makes it so much easier to populate that data. So it gives you options on if you want to output this now into some human readable format that you can share with those that are reading your intelligence, and you still have that JSON piece that you can attach to it and say, okay, now here's the machine readable stuff, so you can add this into whatever tools you're using, right?
So, with all of that in mind, how are you guys using it at AttackIQ? Applying the project, leveraging it, and is that how you would recommend best applying it? Can we talk a little bit more about those use cases for best applications?
Yeah, so for us, I know that, like I said, our intention with the product from the outset was, okay, how do we better structure our reporting, right? So that's really what we're using the project for, is how do we better structure our reporting on this? We've had some conversations as well about, okay, well, how can we ingest maybe the JSON file and build out a set of scenarios from this. We've even discussed the idea of, okay, well, maybe we create a plugin for this at some point, right? Because the tool allows for plugins. So maybe we create a plugin for this at some point that allows Attack IQ customers to export their data, for their test data from Attack IQ, so they can go, okay, we've written the report, we've tagged these techniques, and we've already run this test with these techniques in Attack IQ. So here's a list of here's how we did here's your assessment results against those things. Now, I don't know if those things will ever actually come to light. They're just conversations that we've been having, because the Blueprints project is still fairly new. I think most people are going to be best served by having this as a step as part of their cyber threat intel programs, right? Have your intelligence analysts submit their data through this format that we can now push out to multiple departments and use the automation of that JSON file, or just easily share information with everybody, right? If I can take this information, put it into a easily digestible report that's been tailored just for your job role, then you're much more likely to read it and understand it and do things with it. And that's really its intended use.
Absolutely. Remove all the guesswork, standardize everything. I mean, that's really the dream of the project, is to sort of bring that all together and make it easier for everyone. But beyond, this particular project, how has your participation in the center expanded your goals, and how has it helped AttackIQ's expertise and capabilities on a broader scale?
We provide a flow as well. Um, so a lot of like the emulation plans are awesome because they provide us an already laid out, okay, here's how this attacker works. So we can take this research that's been done and I mean, frankly, it's pretty expensive to do that sort of research on your own, right? If you're not a part of a group like the CTID, um, making that investment to have somebody go out and do research on groups like that and provide you that thorough detail, that's a lot of money. So for us, we look at it almost as an extension of like our R&D arm, right, of our research and development, by or our threat research teams, um, by using that intelligence to build out attack graphs that behave similarly to attackers. We've also had the chance to we utilize our own product a lot in center projects when we help you guys test. When you're running those emulation plans, a lot of the times you're running those with AttackIQ, right? As we're testing. So it gives us feedback on our product directly as well, right? From folks that are going to be using this in the field. So the threat research has been huge. The conceptual research, the defining vocabularies and standardizations are always great for vendors too, just vendors in general, right? Because then we can all start talking the same language and make it easier for our customers to adapt, right? If everybody's standardized on some way of sharing threat intelligence, that makes it a lot easier for our product to interoperate with others, right? Especially if it's all just based on this one JSON file. That makes it easy. But just having that tie to what's going on with attack, right? How can we influence the attack framework, the tools that interface with attack? Because all of that stuff powers what we do.
Mhm.
So it's important for us to know what's going on with that and to help out those projects as well. And frankly, it's in our best interest when people are using attack and using these tools that work with attack, because our product is heavily attack based. Having that already baked into our project or our product, again, it's very important for us to have that collaborative research with you guys.
Absolutely. And so much of our goal too is, solving problems for a safer world, changing the game on the adversary, not just creating these projects, but turning around and giving them back to the world and making them freely available to hopefully make us all safer. So
Yes.
that brings me to our last question, which is a key aspect of the center's approach to these projects is once they're completed, they were made freely available. Can you speak a little to how and why supporting that kind of investment in the community resources is valuable to you and to Attack IQ?
You're not going to get the tools otherwise, or I should say, you're not going to get the budget for the tools otherwise,
Mhm.
right? We've all seen security budgets keep getting tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. It's not a department that makes money, so obviously cuts happen frequently. And if you've got to spend money now on another tool in order to use this great framework, you're probably not going to do it just because you have other priorities. So it's very important that if we want to keep the attack framework not only alive but thriving and useful, all of these projects and products that are created, we need these in order to support that, and in order to, I mean, attack is obviously become central to security since it was released to the public. So we need to make sure that that sustains. We need to make sure that that continues to grow. Companies aren't going to magically find budget for threat intelligence reporting tools. You have higher priorities than that, right? It's very hard to justify that cost to executives or to a CFO.
Mhm.
So it's nice that those tools are out there. But I also, I'm also a fan of open source inspiring commercial tools too, as it often does. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping that, you know, these open source projects that'll come out, maybe they'll inspire new tools, maybe all new open source tools, maybe all new commercial tools, who knows. But just that fact alone is a huge contribution. Again, a reason why it's important that these projects are freely available.
Well, thank you for sharing and thank you for joining us today, Keith.
Great. Thanks, Maggie.